Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthea, and I would like to share my Holy Spirit experience with you today. Um, I would like to share my very first experience, real experience of discovering how the Holy Spirit works in our lives. So, I just moved to Joburg from Cape Town, and I'd only been in Joburg for 3 weeks when my sister. I was at home. I had no friends. I only had my sister and at the time her fiance, her now husband, and she invited me and she said, "Come along with us to Alpha." And I thought, "Ugh, really? I don't want to go to church." I mean, I had been going to church, but I had no real relationship with Christ. And I just moved from Cape Town where I had this very, I was a, I was very much a socialite in Cape Town. I was always out, always with friends. I was never at home, and that was my life. So now I was in Joburg and I knew nobody. So I thought, okay, I'll go ahead. Maybe she's right. Or maybe I'll make some friends that I can go out with. And I went and fast forward to the weekend of Alpha. I had made some amazing friends by then, who are still my friends today. And I, it was just an amazing experience. So what happened was I experienced, prayer on that day, and it was okay. I went home that night and I was very restless. And I just knew that God was telling me that there was something that I had to let go of, something huge. And kind of knew what it was, but I wasn't ready, or at least I thought I wasn't ready to let go. And on the Sunday morning, I went back, and an amazing woman that's still in our community went up and gave her testimony on what happened to her when she was a young girl. And I sat there and I just, the memories flooded back of when I was a young girl. So I was abused by a man when I was 5, who was well known and respected in the community. And anyway, I kept that secret for such a long time. I remember trying to speak about it when I was a teenager, but it just it wasn't received very well. So I decided that's it, and no one will ever find out about this. I'm ashamed. It's my fault, and life carried on, and it affected me big time. And on that morning, when this beautiful person was sharing her experience, I realized I'm not alone. And I remember standing up and walking out, running out of the hall actually, and running straight into my sister. And she grabbed me and she said, "Aunt, what's going on?" And I just blurted the words out. Caught her completely off guard, and she looked at me and she took me in her arms and we just wept, and I told her what had happened. And I remember she called Renata to come and pray with us. And as he prayed, I just felt this immense love that I've never experienced before. It was like God Himself wrapping His arms around me and just holding me and saying, "My child, you are worthy, you are beautiful, it's not your fault, and do not be ashamed." So I just want to encourage all the women and men out there that have ever experienced any sort of abuse. That it's not your fault. Do not be ashamed, and just take it to God and allow the Holy Spirit to work in your lives. God bless. Thank you.
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verses 16 to 17 and 19 to 20. Do you not know that you are God's temple, and that God's Spirit lives in you? If someone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him, for God's temple is holy, which is what you are. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, which you have from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. The word of the Lord.
During the winter of 2018, the 11th of June to be exact, we were holidaying in the Berg with two very close friends of ours. It was on that day when we received the news that a very good friend of ours had suffered a relapse of her cancer and that it had metastasized to her lungs. We were so sad and desperate to do something, but what? Monica lived in Malta, which made attempts at comforting her so much more difficult and remote. Prayer is powerful, but combined prayer is so much more so. How was I going to latch on to and harness that wonderful healing, comforting and loving power? Prior to going to the Berg, we had returned from the most wonderful, spirit-filled pilgrimage with Father Keith and Father Theo, one which had certainly transformed both of us. One of the places we visited provided part of the inspiration for the formation of the group. In the Judean desert, below Mount Temptation, is the town of Jericho, and in it the Church of the Good Shepherd. We celebrated a healing mass there, one which was spiritually significant to all the pilgrims. The stirring photo of Father Theo praying under the icon of the Good Shepherd is foundational to the group. Standing in the majesty of those beautiful mountains in the Berg, it dawned on me as if with the ease of a knowledge that had always been there. In this modern day and age, what better way was there to reach Monica, and indeed many people, than through the medium of the internet, specifically through WhatsApp, and the prayer group was born. We have grown over time and have had such joyous interaction through the Spirit. We have prayed for over 200 brothers and sisters. Some of the prayers are works in progress. Others have been rather sad, as those prayed for were called home. But many more have had their prayers answered. It has been said, faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation. I now trust God implicitly, even though sometimes I'm unable to rationally explain the answers that we receive. This prayer group belongs to all who participate in its joys and in its sadness. But I'm sure that the joy of the Holy Spirit brings to the group is shared by all, and that is more often than not. And when the answer is not what you expect, then there is always a lesson.
Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me. Spirit of the living God,